aspects of this year has to do with the fact that yin metal is the dagger. It's a jewel dagger. And last year we had that sword, which was kind of scary for me. But this year we have the jewel dagger, and it means a couple of different things. Number one, it means possible assassination attempts. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it could also lead to things like character assassination, where someone's reputation is damaged for whatever reason. It could also lead to things like feeling like you're being stabbed in the back by someone that you trusted. So there is that little bit of danger of that assassin. And according to the Chinese, the most dangerous assassin this year is actually female. So I don't know if that's actually true or not. It's just that the Chinese so equate yin with female that there's always a warning, with yin metal, that watch out for the female assassin, the beautiful but deadly female assassin. So I don't know if that's going to come true or not. I kind of hope not, but that's something to be aware of. Okay. And the other thing that is really important there, because metal does care about freedom, and I said there's restrictions on money, but that's a different. There won't be a restriction on movement as much as we get farther into the year. So I do see things opening up and people being allowed to go where they need to go. And I'm going to mention this more later, but metal has a lot of ideals. And one of the big ideals, for example, is schools and education. So I really think that schools will definitely start opening up, and not that long from now. But remember that the seasons of this year that are most beneficial are the ones that correspond to the elements. And the elements are, yin earth, and yin metal, which are summer and fall. So that's when things will really start getting better. Okay. And as the year progresses, you'll definitely see people socializing more, although it's kind of funny because of the metal aspect, it'll limit the number of people. So it's really much more about small groups than it is about large groups. So you won't be seeing the giant parties, and you won't be seeing the kind of huge conferences and things that we used to go to, which is kind of sad, but it is important to realize that there's some limits on the number of people that are involved in things. So I also think that there's other ideals that are important. For example, one of the things that I always equate the metal element with is the shoulders, and in terms of standing upright and holding the lungs that are full. So there's personal responsibility is one of the ideals of metal, and it is a strong thing this year for people to actually take responsibility and be responsible. It's also a year of efficiency. One of the things I didn't put on this PowerPoint that I want to emphasize that I put into the report that I think is really funny. I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, oh my gosh, I'm being kind of messy. I'm normally a person, I don't leave any dishes in the sink. I'm always putting them away, and I don't lay clothes on a chair or whatever. All of the last couple of days, I noticed I've been a bit messy. I was like, oh my goodness. It's like, oh, there's dishes in the sink. And I'm so surprised. But I also know it's the earth. And then all of a sudden I go, that's it. So I just I really clean up. I don't even just clean up just the dishes that are in the sink, but I clean the counters really well. There's this vacillation between that earth kind of easygoing, messy, and the metal going, no, it needs to be in order. And you'll kind of find yourself going back and forth between those two, because that's the energies of the year, So if any of you've noticed that already, I always do things a little bit early. And I got my coat right over there, laying across the chair. I don't do that. Usually I hang it in the closet. So I'm watching this one because it's surprising to me that the earth makes you messier. Okay. Also, too, this may be a reaction to such bad behavior last year. And I thought last year people really reacted to bad behavior and saying what would happen to civility and, proper behavior. This year, actually a little bit stronger without the condemnation. This is where, especially people who are metallic, will try to show that they are being civil, that they are being polite, that they are being tactful. So it's more about the embodiment of the metal ideals of proper behavior than judging other people for not having proper behavior. So you'll find yourself, for example, not cursing as much, which is interesting. It's just people just won't do it as much. And they will find themselves, asking people, so how do you feel about that? And they'll kind of go, wait, why am I asking that? It's just the energies of the year will make people more conciliatory, more cooperative. And it will be only surprising if you aren't already very earthy. I mean, people who are really woody, for example, are the ones who might get surprised that they're not feeling quite as bold as they did, or as empowered as they did, for example, last year. And yin earth is very much about agriculture. So much for my not using glasses. I can't see some of these things, are too small. But anyway, yeah, there's peaceful, more peace, but agriculture is especially good. Let's see, I just mentioned that already. Oh, I like this one a lot. Those who treat cows well will get extra benefit. So it doesn't matter if, like, you're Hindu, and I mean, that's actually really good if you're Hindu this year, because they revere cows. It's like wonderful. It's also good if you're a dairy farmer and treat your cows really well. It's like, it's really kind of important to treat cows well. I was joking with a friend. I said, does that mean all Tauruses who like being Tauruses I'm a Taurus, will have a good year? I'm thinking, yeah, maybe. I like cows. I like cows a lot. So anyway, if you treat cows well, it's a really good thing. And it's not good if you mistreat cows. So if you are involved in things like the rodeo, not a really very good year, because those bulls will get mad. Or if you're involved in bullfighting and things, it's not a good year for those things. Like, don't make the bulls mad, okay? Because they're really easygoing until you wave the red flag, okay? And then it's like, oh. So be nice to cows, okay? And that's kind of really important. And I also think that people will feel more charitable, and they'll want to give more, and especially will want to give to organizations that give out food, like food banks should get more donations. I think we're going to give away all the canned food that we bought last year that we didn't use yet. Like, how many cans of like Spam do you need? Even if you like Spam musubi, which I do. But even still, it's like, wait, do I need all those like apricots that I got? So I think people will giving to charities like that. But also, I think there'll be bigger charities too. Like, the other day, I opened up the website for, it was like the World Kitchen or whatever it was called. And I went, I need to donate to them, because they're feeding people. It's like, and I found that urge, and I always like to feed people. If you come to my house, I'll cook for you. But there's just something more about helping people who don't have food this year. Like, I can feel it. I spend literally 3 months before the next year feeling the energies and watching the news and doing all that, combining that with what I know about the elements. And I could feel some of this stuff coming up. It's like people need food. So you'll find that charitable giving, especially in the food realm, will be very good. Like, school lunches will come back and things like that. Worldwide, I think that because of the earth and the restriction of the metal, that countries will have to do a lot more about fixing things at home. I don't think that they're going to be quite as interested in, the expanding their boundaries. So we'll stop seeing some of those skirmishes that happened last year, where boundaries were tested, whether it's in the water or on land, and you find these battles going on for a few feet of territory or a few miles of territory, or whatever they were fighting about, or an area of the ocean. And you're going to see that will calm down a great deal, and that yin earth is really not so much about the building of things. That's going to be next year, which is wood. But I do think that there's something here where there's a problem with infrastructure in a lot of places in the world, and they'll start planning for fixing the infrastructure, and they'll start really looking at the idea that they need to do something about the things that are broken, especially the things that connect people. So roads, and highways and bridges, those are the kinds of things that you see with yin earth, things that connect one town to another, that connects families between, cities and towns. And you'll see that, unfortunately, it still doesn't mean that the airline companies are going to do that well, because there's much more of an interest in transportation that goes across the ground, whether it's cars or trucks or trains. There's much more of that involved than things that fly. And so that's something we'll have to wait for to open up more, but it's still not going to be as good a year for travel, unfortunately, as it could be, unless you want to travel within your own country or not too far away and things like that. So that's important. Oh yeah, I remember this one. So you'll find that a lot of countries will become much more diplomatic than they used to be. And you'll find much better, negotiations, treaties being signed. You'll see alliances being formed that maybe have been like not so strong lately, but now they're going to come back together again. And I think you're going to see some, reaching out across, the world, that people join forces. And so whatever organizations have multiple countries in them will find this year to be a good year to connect and to negotiate and to work together and have common goals. So that's actually kind of nice. I mean, I think it's nice anyway. I'm a rather peaceful person, so I don't really like, yeah, some of the things that have happened. And usually the easiest thing for me to read ahead of time is the weather and the natural disasters. And this year, natural disasters were not that hard, but weather was incredibly hard to read, and I don't really know why. I still don't know why. And I have to say, it's a strange weather year. It's not bad. Like last year was bad. Lots of storms and all that, lots of cold. It's like it was a rough year. But this year, there's a couple of strange things about it. Number one, if you look at the 5 element cycle, the way we do in Chinese medicine, where the generative cycle, you'll see that yin earth goes into yin metal, and then it goes into yin water. And yin water is rain. So there'll definitely be rain, but it's kind of like light rain. It's kind of like rain a little bit for a long time, or it's warm rain. It rains in the summer when it doesn't normally rain in the summer. But then you have to add in that the ox is about the dead of winter. And so then there's like this weird unseasonable cold that can happen at any time.